Hey, Jen,
Yeah,
I finally tackled that box labeled spiritual tools. Turns out dried up pieces of sage and a cracked salt lamp don't actually clear energy. They just collect dust.
that's funny. I found a journal from 2003, and apparently I've been trying to declutter since then. Also trying to eat less cheese.
How's that working?
It's not.
No, no. Welcome to Two in the Closet, the podcast where our clutter has
That's
clutter,
clutter.
but we still believe in clearing
The
it clears our
chi,
chi.
chi.
Yes.
And if chi doesn't work, we got coffee and Goodwill donation bags.
There you go. So let's talk about the emotional landmines we call keepsakes. I know we all have them, right? I've
Yes.
kept birthday cards from people I don't even like anymore because I'm afraid of throwing them out because I don't want bad karma.
I still have my prom dress, and yep, and it's a size I haven't seen since dial-up internet. No joke. I'm totally serious.
So, what are you emotionally attached to and why? Right? This is a rhetorical question to you, our listener.
Yes.
What are the implications of holding on to stuff? I know somebody personally who has saved old emails
Hmm.
and files from decades ago as dirt for their current boss. And that person happens to be really stuck professionally and emotionally. So is that a coincidence? So Marie Diamond says objects carry vibrational memories. And I know that's true, don't you? You look like you're crying.
No, a little bit. I know.
So what are we subconsciously holding on to? For me, I held on to all of my old journals from decades past. And I finally decided that I was going to burn them because when I reread them, I
Hmm.
discovered that I was telling the same story over and over and over again. The players' names had changed,
But it
but
was the same thing.
especially in romance, the story was exactly the same. So I had a bonfire and burned them all.
Hmm. I have all my high school boyfriends' um, love letters,
Hmm.
and they're in a shoebox, and it's actually broken. And I've taken it out, read them. I was going to burn them or I was going to bury them, and I just can't.
Because of the vibrational energy.
Exactly. So, and also my daughter's dance shoes.
Oh,
Are still in my car. I've had a different car since her when she was younger, but I keep them in my car because I would always put them in the back seat. And for some reason, I can't get over it because I think it's what she used to do. And she was really good at it. And it was like, I love watching her dance and I feel like attachment. And that's not who she is anymore. And she doesn't
right.
do that. So, how do you?
But I have another question. You said this is not the car you had when she danced. So are you telling me that car A, you
Mhm.
got rid of car A, and when you got car B, you moved the belongings from car A to car B? And like, how did they get
You know,
into a second car?
that's a really good question.
That is a level of clutter that I don't think I've ever experienced.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know because that's a little unusual for me. It is but I'm gonna have to think about that, Beth, and get
Okay,
back
you
to you.
need to get back to that.
Um, but it's very hard to like get rid of those old sentimental things.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And we're going to talk about some methods and tips and tactics on how to lovingly release some of our things. Um, if I haven't used it in a certain amount of time, it goes. And I love having three different, maybe
Right.
four, a bonus pile. Keep, obviously, donate, recycle. Bonus pile number four could be, I'm not sure, right?
Right. You might want it, you might not want
Yeah,
it, and then
and
you can decide later.
I'm not ready to
Right.
make that call.
That's what I do.
Or if you want it to be a spiritual bonus pile, it could be this used to serve me, but
Hmm.
it's not part of who I'm becoming. And
Right.
when I think about that stuff, it's like um if you had, let's say you were a stripper.
Right? I don't know where this is going, but okay.
No, so you had all the stripper gear,
Right, right.
right? And outfits and stuff, and you gave up that life, but you're still holding on to that stuff. So is that really serving you? Is it helping you to become the next version of yourself, right? So it might be time to take pictures and then
Right.
release, right?
Or I just have a suggestion. If you really want to hold on to a costume or shoes like
Mhm.
that, you put it in a plastic bin and you label it. I'm big on labeling, but you label like keepsakes or
Yeah.
dance shoes and put it away in a closet
Protected.
or a
Yeah.
garage, or somewhere where you have it, but it's not in your space.
Hmm.
It's not like in your
Yeah.
closet with all your new things that you're doing.
Right, right. And like I said, I clean my closets every 6 months. So it kind of goes with the seasons, like spring cleaning. And then it's really spring and then around Thanksgiving. I really get the urge to just
The purge,
reorganize and purge. And when I go through my clothes, if I haven't worn it in 6 months,
you get rid of it.
well, maybe not get rid of it, but I make a mental note that that is hanging around and I'm not wearing it. And then if the next cycle around comes and it's still there, I will get rid of it
That's a great
if I haven't
idea.
worn it. And what that has made me do recently is start wearing stuff that I've never worn that have been in my closet. So,
Yes.
because I know if
Yep.
I'm not going to wear it, I need to get rid of it.
I This is just funny. I need to share this. But the other night I wore a shirt that I haven't worn in like 3 years,
Hmm.
and I passed it in my closet, and I
Hmm.
wore it the other night, and I loved it.
Well, and we were just at a function and I wore a dress that I have never worn. I bought it for a cruise that I went on 2 years ago. Never wore it on the cruise and never have worn it since. And I wore it to
You
this
weren't.
event and everybody was complimenting me on
Yeah, it
it.
was a great dress, and that's where I wore the tank top. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, um,
It's nice to pull that old stuff out that you didn't think you were gonna
yeah,
wear.
and I've been doing that recently. It's just like this urge to go through and try something different or a different combination. And that's one of the benefits of doing a clearing regularly. It's you're taking inventory. You see all the
Exactly.
stuff, but if you don't pull it down and try it on, you kind of
Yeah,
it
no.
just blends into the background. What I also know to be true, and this is another tip, I'm getting ahead of the tips, but
Yes.
it flows with the closets every 6 months, is what I know to be true is that if you make space, the universe will fill the void, right? So
With new
for,
stuff.
for everything that I release, somebody is going to benefit from that down the line somewhere.
Right, exactly.
But for every item that I release, I'm making room for something new and better and more suited to who I am now.
Yeah,
So it
that
serves a physical, mental, and spiritual.
that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. It does.
And this is where my personal inner feng shui nerd really starts to light
Yes,
up
you are
because
very
of feng
into.
shui. Yeah. Because even Marie Diamond says clutter doesn't just block your closet, it blocks your flow. And I can testify to that. Your relationships, your money, your dreams, all of it.
Hmm. I No wonder why I can't get ahead. My momentum's buried under a pile of mystery chords and expired dreams.
Exactly. So when we talk about feng shui, it's really what Chinese uh, practitioners call the life force energy. So you can say life, you can say energy, chi, but that's really the flow. Acupuncturists talk about it and all that. Um, I just discovered Marie Diamond. I don't know where um, I have been, but Marie Diamond is a Belgian lady who wrote a book called Your Home is a Vision Board.
I love that.
And when I heard that, I just like it just clicked. It made so much sense to me. So, chi being the vital energy, feng shui is being in alignment with that chi. And I want to ask you a question because
Yes.
every time Jennifer walks into my house,
Mhm.
she says something along the lines of,
I walk in and I go, I could exhale. and it's peaceful, and it smells clean, like the air. It's very peaceful for me. It's very, very peaceful.
And you're not the only person. Almost everybody who has ever walked into my home, whether it's where I live now or previous places, they say it feels so calm in here. The energy is so good. That is feng shui.
Yeah,
That is intentionally creating a space first for me
right.
that when I walk in,
You get a
and I
sense
do
of
that
it.
same
Yeah,
thing. I exhale and I'm like, I'm home.
yeah.
But
That's
it's
what you
also,
want.
yeah, it's also for the people that come into my house. Okay, so if feng shui is alignment with qi, clutter is chaos and misalignment with
Yeah,
qi. And this goes very much deeper than anything that I had thought about. So there's this man named Paul Sheely. I studied with him years ago on how to teach and how to be an engaging presenter and speaker. He's a star in his field, but I did not know that he monitored brain waves around cluttered
clutter.
spaces. So
Interesting.
yeah, so Marie Diamond and he partnered with this study, and they put people in cluttered spaces and monitored their brain waves.
Wow.
And I'm going to go a little science nerd on this because I'm going to talk about the different kinds of alpha or brain waves. So when they were put in cluttered spaces, they started generating. So when they were put in cluttered spaces, they started generating beta brain waves immediately. Activity, no harmony, no
It
sustainability.
brings your it's low vibration.
Well, that's yeah. So when we talk about different waves, the alpha wave feels like calm, focus, it's relaxed alertness, and it's active most when you're meditating, walking in nature, warm baths, just before you fall asleep, and it supports creativity and stress reduction, feeling in the zone. So these people were experiencing um, a lot of beta frequencies. I misspoke. I said alpha. So beta waves
Mm-hmm.
are um, get stuff done brain wave brain wave. Beta waves are the get stuff done brain waves. They're associated with stress. So clutter,
Interesting.
right?
Equal stress.
Restlessness and overthinking. Too much of those brain waves, and it's like your mind had too much coffee.
Makes
So they
sense.
put these people into these cluttered spaces, and they immediately started feeling that in their brain.
So it's
So scientific. And then when they put them into a calm space, they immediately started generating alpha waves, which are the calm, focused, daydreaming, relaxed alertness. Happens when you're meditating, walking in nature, taking baths, and
being
it's right
sunlight.
before you go to sleep. So it's the feeling of in the zone. I know I have felt in the zone, and it just feels like
Feels like
it just is smooth, right? Um, they call it the Sunday afternoon brain.
I love that.
Yeah,
I didn't know any of this
yeah,
until
and I am a science nerd, so that kind of just lights me up
yeah.
too. Um, so living in clutter, it's equivalent to survival, no creativity, no
Hmm.
harmony, no
Yeah.
sustainability. And I would also venture to say maybe no hope, as we like to say here, where hope goes to die. Um, so when you are decluttering, you want to think about the spaces where you spend the most time in your home and start there. So, because you sleep in your bedroom in hopefully, 8 to 10 hours or whatever, you're
20.
20, yeah, do your bedroom first because your energy field absorbs the energy of clutter. So, even a cluttered closet inside your bedroom, such as mine is, like that energy still permeates.
Right,
And
of
I will
course.
tell you the difference between cluttered and not cluttered is when I wake up in the morning and that closet door is open and I can see it
You
from
could
my
see
bed
the whole.
and
Mhm.
it's all organized. I just feel very
There is a
accomplished.
difference when you're in your bedroom and you're looking, your closet doors open, whether it's big or small, and there's things like hanging down, your shoes are like half in the closet, half
Yeah.
out the closet, it's half broken. There's some sort of not
Mhm.
settled because I like doors closed, not
Me
open.
too. Me too.
So that is just,
But I have a cat that knows how to open my closet
that
door.
is true.
Yeah. So creating space creates a void, which is good for the universe because the universe abhors a void. So it can bring more ideas and creativity into that space. It's really important. We talked about this earlier. Take away what's broken,
Yes.
right? Dead plants. I I think one of my pet peeves is walking into somebody's house
And there's dead
and they have
plants.
a plant that's just hanging on for dear life. And right now I'm my pothos is kind of in the ER and
Yeah,
I cut off the dead stuff because you gotta, even if it's a struggling plant, like cut off the dead parts because it's draining the energy that could help build the other plant, the rest of the
exactly.
plant.
So
Broken appliances,
yes, throw out broken knives, forks, spoons,
broken knives and forks and spoons. Who do you have some of those?
forks.
Broken fork. What does a broken
It
fork
like
look like?
the you know,
The
the
tongs?
tongs have gone forward and backwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
She can bend forks.
Yeah.
They're mine. Okay, definitely get rid of those.
Yes.
Broken electronics, anything spiky, your nervous system, even though you don't know it, it's responding to that. And I love, she says, to walk through your front door as an emanation of God, of life,
I love
energy,
that.
force, and ask, is this space reflecting who I am? And is this space reflecting who I want to be?
Oh, I love that.
I know. I was listening to this
That should be on a plaque.
I was listening to this while I was walking, and I couldn't wait to come home and ask myself those questions when I walked in.
Yeah, they're
And
good questions.
I'm not gonna lie, I got a lot of ideas for what I want to
Yeah, 100%.
redo. Yeah. So Marie Diamond has her energy map, and she divides the sections into four instead of traditional feng shui that divides into 8 sections. So her 4 directions are success, health, relationship, and wisdom.
That makes
And
sense.
yeah, and I like that because you're focusing on those primary things. And she doesn't do the whole house. She talks about
Each,
doing this for the rooms where you
right,
spend the most time in, right? That's why you do your bedroom first.
right.
A lot of times you spend the most time there. Um, but we are definitely going to click her or put her information in our notes
Yes,
because it was revelatory. It just, my mind was blown listening to her. Because when you think your home is your vision board, when you think you think of a single person, are there pictures of just single beings
right.
everywhere, or are there pictures of
Couple,
couples or pairs of
right.
things? Like I learned a long time ago, like pairs of birds. You never have an elephant by itself. You have 2 elephants, 2 birds, things like that.
That is true.
And I have original art. I'm looking at one right now that is a couple in an embrace, and it's a sketch. And I bought it at an art gallery years ago, and then I have another similar kind of thing out there. But so far they haven't worked, but I don't know. Maybe it's my chi.
Maybe you need another one to
Maybe, maybe.
complement.
But I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through room by room. We'll call it the Clutter Palace and see what we can find. And then you're going to share some tips on practicality on how to clear some of this stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So I'll start in the kitchen for me.
Okay.
I found a whole set of martini glasses and shaker, and I don't know when the last time I had a martini. I don't even drink anymore. So
The junk drawer. Soy sauce, twist ties, broken pens.
cluttered counters. This was an eye opener. Clogged
Yes.
creativity. The energy needs to flow, even if I'm just making toast, right?
I would never even think of that.
I know, but you know what? I do get anxious when I walk into somebody's kitchen and their counters are cluttered. I had these friends who I'm not going to call them pack rats, but they were borderline. And when you walked into their beautifully remodeled kitchen, which I
It
loved,
was all
the
messy.
corner where the counters met,
Yeah.
it had groceries in it. Like here's a pound of flour, here's some
Yeah.
canned goods, because their pantry was overflowing, which I guess is great for abundance purposes. But that corner, that's another thing. corners, cluttered corners, or clogged energy. I
Stuck.
lived with a girl. Remember that girl in on Green Valley?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Everything was
The hoarder.
covered in the corner. They
Yeah.
just shoved everything into the corners to the point of today when I see something in a corner of my house, like if it's not an aesthetic purpose for it to be there.
You for sure do
Yeah.
that. You for
Yeah.
sure do that.
And your closet reflects your identity, right? Mine screamed,
As
mine screamed she tried, but Target was having a sale.
no, but also it's very organized, it's color coded,
I know, but
and your shoes are put away and all
yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So, um,
What about you? What's in your bedroom?
one chair draped with 17 semi-clean outfits. So some of it's clean, some of it's not. Um,
It's like reminiscent of club night, going out and trying on all the
oh
outfits
yeah, and just
and
throwing
then
it
throwing
on a
it,
chair.
right?
Yeah,
And then they're wrinkled and yeah.
that's how my bedroom looks.
But if your closet makes you sigh when you open it and not in a good sigh way,
Not good.
it's probably telling you something. Moving on to the bathroom.
Nah,
Why so many half empty bottles of shampoo and conditioner? Am I blending? Am I making cocktails?
I know you got to just throw them away.
Yeah.
Like half used, half not eyeshadows, too dried up and no longer age appropriate
That
for my skin tone.
that is a that's another game changer because the makeup that I used in my 40s is not the make and first of all, you shouldn't save that stuff.
No,
I mean, I think
no.
like a 6 month, 12-month expiration date. If you
Yeah,
haven't used it all up, it's gonna get gunky and it's
throw that
not gonna,
away.
yeah. And eyeshadows, uh again, my glitter era has passed. So anything with a reflective,
Yeah, you
like
throw it out.
I don't need that
I
stuff.
know, I know.
But that is very freeing when I go under my sink in the bathroom and I pull everything out and it's like my closet. Like,
I know.
well, I may save some stuff, but then the next time it's out the door.
Exactly.
And what about tech? So that's another important thing. I know you've got some challenges with tech. So I have a feeling you might have some broken
I
things.
do. I do. I have a broken, I found a flip phone. Yes, a phone, and I actually turned it on and it did the ring, like the when you first turn it
Booted,
on,
yeah.
like from 2003. Yeah.
1987.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So super easy to compile all that stuff. There are electronics companies that will, or recyclers that will take that stuff and
Yes.
use the parts that they
Yeah,
need.
get rid of it.
But give us some tips.
Okay.
Help us do this without losing our minds.
Okay. So, living room. Okay. 5-minute reset, it's
Mhm.
called. Set your timer each night to reset the room. You could race against it, pretend you're being filmed for a speed cleaning
Mhm.
reality show. If you know
Can I
that,
tell you a story?
yes, and you are going to if I said no. Even
Because it just made me think. You know how I love babies on
yes,
TikTok?
yes.
So there's this little girl, she's 18 months old. I don't even
Mhm.
know what her name is. But every night her mom videos her. She does a TikTok and she's out of
That's
the
so cute.
shower in her onesie and her hair's
Oh
all
my
slicked back.
goodness,
She's
so
blonde, her
cute.
hair's all slicked back, and she's a little chubby. She reminds me of me at that age. Um, but her mom says, "Do you want to watch TV?" And it's the same every night. Do you want to watch TV? Okay. Just like that. Okay. Okay, you got to clean up your toys first. And then she go, you know how little kids, when they're walking, they walk with such intention and they
Yeah,
kind of huff and puff.
right. Like
Like even picking up a little
right,
book
right.
just takes everything they've got.
A lot of energy.
It looks like she's had the time of her life all day long, but that playroom is
Oh,
just strewn with toys. And she goes one by one. She puts
oh
the
my
books on the
God.
rack, puts the
That
toys in
is
the
the
basket,
cutest thing.
and then she watches whatever she wants. But it's so cute because, okay, you got to clean up your toys. Okay.
Okay. That's so cute.
Yeah. So I will channel that little girl in me at night and do that 5 minute thing.
I
So
I
I love that.
I think
What else you
I
got?
think you should.
Yeah.
Um, the bedroom, the chair rule. Either wear it, hang it, or wash it. The chair is not a permanent partner.
It's not a hanger.
Right. But it's very hard because when I get home, I'll take my clothes off and I just throw it on the chair and then it just like piles, 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 piles. But just take it, put it in the dirty clothes or hang it up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. It's not that hard. Kitchen.
That's a hard one. I need to tackle that
It
again.
they always say start with the dishes.
Hmm.
And I didn't know this until I did some research that the sink is the heart of the kitchen,
That's beautiful, I
right?
think.
Well, when you walk into a kitchen, you don't want to see like tons of pile of,
Yeah.
yeah.
So don't go into my kitchen right now.
Okay, I won't.
Okay.
Um, what other fun tips?
I have one
Okay.
that is not necessarily that kind of tip, but I will say this. Do not be overwhelmed by trying to tackle clutter all at once. Do a little bit at a time. It's the 5 minutes in the living room, right? Um, Tidy with intention.
Right.
Don't let it overwhelm you. One small drawer, one small space at a time. And I do that all the time. It's like I'll look at my junk drawer and then is it really a junk drawer if it's really clean and organized? I don't know. But that's rhetorical. But clearing clutter is really an act of self-love. Think
100%.
think about that
It is 100%.
because whatever is going on in here is being reflected out there. So if I walk into your house and it's very cluttered, I'm going to think you've got a lot going on internally that maybe you aren't dealing with. And that is, that's metaphysics because so within, so without.
Right.
So for me, it's a
The little
very
things.
it's an honest tell of what somebody where they are. So if you can't take 5 or 10 minutes to show yourself some love by hanging up your clothes and straightening up the living room before you go to bed, like how do you expect somebody to love you if you can't even spend 5 or 10 minutes a freaking
Exactly.
day?
And it doesn't have to be a
It's not a thing.
right. It doesn't have to be a whole big thing. It could literally, what I do is I do one drawer at a time
Yeah,
and I
well,
make
that's what I
and I
mean.
make different piles. Trash, donate, not sure, like we talked about
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
And so don't look at everything you have to do. Just take one small area
yeah,
and start
yeah.
start with that.
Yeah. But I think going back to within without, like the psychological weight of having visual mess, I think until you become aware of it, you have no idea how negatively it affects
It's
you.
it's so true.
And that's the alpha and beta waves, right? I mean, it has been scientifically proven that that stuff causes stress.
100%.
Yeah. So, um, and then sometimes there are emotional triggers that cause us to hoard and not want to get rid of stuff, right?
It's
Um,
so true.
I was I was raised by parents that went through the depression. So going without was common in their generation. So my mom, our garage looked like a corner market, maybe not a grocery store, but a
Right,
corner
right,
market.
right.
She had shelves all the way around our garage filled with food and toilet paper and paper towels way before COVID and all that stuff. But
You learned it from her?
but I think I avoided being like that for a long time, but then I realized it's sensible because what I know in my psyche is when money has been tight in my life, I always think to myself, as long as there's cat food,
Mm-hmm.
toothpaste,
Yep.
coffee, toilet paper, and paper towels, I'll be okay. And it's very minimal, right? But then I started thinking to myself, or consciously or subconsciously, you know what? You can make your life a lot easier if you just if you just stock up a little bit, not go
No,
crazy. I don't have a lifetime supply of anything, but it's organized.
it's clutter equals chaos.
Yeah.
It just
Take that away for sure.
and if you even do a little at a time, it
Yeah.
just makes a huge, huge difference. You
And
could
it
sleep better.
Yeah, and it allows for your creativity because somewhere in your brain, I promise you, you're being stressed out about what you're looking at, you know? Um,
100%.
so
100%.
yeah. I love this quote. When in doubt, space it out. I
I
don't know.
love
I
that.
don't
I
even know
love
what that
that.
means,
I love
but
that.
it's got a rhythm to it. So you had some questions or comments from our listeners, right? Oh, we both have them. Um, I'll start since you're playing with Colin or something down there. So we asked our listeners about clutter and what their thoughts, and we have some funny listeners and we have some spiritual listeners and a little bit of everything. What are you doing? It's up here.
Oh,
Whatever you're doing, you're not going to find.
sorry.
Yeah, so some of our listeners weighed in on their thoughts on clutter, and a lot of them were kind of funny and a little spiritual. One said, my husband says if we haven't used it in a year, we should toss it. I say yes to that, but she said, does that include him? What's your answer, Jen?
Oh, I don't know. And then Marcy whispering from the garage.
No, that was Marcy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Is it bad feng shui if my junk drawer requires a crowbar?
Who hasn't been guilty of that, right?
Yes, I have. Me.
Yeah. I love this one. If no one opens the guest room closet, does the clutter inside really exist?
That one might be my favorite.
I think it is too, and I think the answer is no. No, it does not exist.
I
If you
agree.
never open the door.
Then you won't know.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Or I found a box labeled important from 2009 and I still haven't opened it. Should I burn it, bless it, or bury it?
I say bury it as an archaeological find later,
Yeah, I
in the
agree. I would say
century.
bury it or burn it.
Yeah, I don't. I guess whatever is important. If those are naked photos, you should probably burn them,
Yes.
especially if they're from
Yeah.
2009. But if they are keepsakes, like your boyfriend letters, like I
Yes.
bury them. Let
I
somebody find them.
know. I know.
I had a friend who bought a home that was built like in the 20s, and when they started doing renovation, inside in the walls was old cartoons from the newspaper that they had stuffed as
Oh
insulation, I
my God,
guess.
that's funny.
And so, they could open them up and see the dates. So along those lines. But yeah. And then we had a spiritual take on it.
Yeah.
How do I declutter my spiritual life? I've got expired affirmations and a dusty vision board from 2016. I'm not going to lie when I tell you that I had somewhere in here for a long time, I had an old vision board and it had stuff on it that I would not want now. So the universe is a
Is
way smarter entity than I am.
yeah. I found a box with like sayings on the box. I guess I did like an art project,
Mm-hmm.
and then I looked inside, and there
Was
was
it
all these
deco
pictures.
pictures?
No, 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 no. It was like a heart, like it was like a cutout, but it was all these old like things that I wrote that I'm like, I don't even remember I
Oh,
wrote.
wow.
And I put it back, and I'm gonna go back and really look at it. But
I have a, I have our church bulletins, for each Sunday
yeah,
service. My childhood sweetheart, he and his friend used to cut up during service, and they were both very funny. They would do a little comic routine and they would write it on the back of
oh,
those bulletins.
that's funny.
And somewhere later in life, he sent them to me, and I still have them. When we talk about sentimental, like that's really like I can't see myself parting with those
Yeah,
ever.
that'd be really hard.
Maybe give them to his kids or something. They wouldn't want them.
Right.
They probably think he's an idiot, but like, oh, dad. But that was a piece of him from high school that was super sweet.
That is sweet.
But decluttering isn't just a task, it can be a ritual, and that's how I look at it.
Hmm.
And it's saying to these things, I'm done with what no longer serves me. And you can use the Marie Kondo, does it spark joy,
Right,
right?
right.
um does it is it serving me? Is it serving me?
If it
If
isn't,
it's a broken lamp in a closet, I'm going
no.
to venture to say that the answer is no. To share one of the things you're letting go of this week. And this can be emotional, physical, whatever. Just
Anything.
share what you're going to clear. And if you've already cleared it, tell us how you feel.
Yes.
Um,
What are you going to clear this week?
I am going to go into the hall closet. The top part is a
Hmm.
pantry, but the part beneath that, there are two shelves. And again, only two shelves. I'm not going to try and take on a whole room. I'm just going to pull out what's in those shelves. I was telling Lisa about this yesterday. I have old paints from acrylic paint, like paint
Hmm.
night things, and they take up a big chunk of space in that closet. And I have not painted since COVID, and those paints were already of a certain age, so I think they're probably dried out, and I think I need to get rid of them.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a good
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah. What are you going to get rid of? Your husband? Child?
um no.
Disregard that.
But I think what I might do is go into the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
and do a revamp
Yeah,
because there's stuff in there that
yeah.
I need to.
I just did one drawer in my bathroom and I love it. I finally got it to where I have those little organizer, you know,
Yeah.
things. And I have it, I don't know, it was like a Rubik's Cube. Now I can pull one up and move a couple
Oh, I
around.
love
And
that.
I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it, but it's fucking
I love
fabulous.
that.
Yeah. So every time it's my makeup drawer. So when I open up that drawer, I just smile. And it's one little drawer.
I love
You
that.
don't know the satisfaction you get out of clearing clutter.
Yeah, it definitely always feels good.
Yeah. So we're going to link Marie Diamond's compass, her energy compass, because that will show you where your success direction is and all the good stuff that she talks about. Don't forget to feed the podcast, right?
Yes.
Subscribe, leave us a review, share.
Your love with
sh-
clutter buddies,
yeah,
besties.
clutter buddies, clutter buddies. Oh, that's a support group. That's
It is.
brilliant.
It
You didn't
is.
even mean to say that,
No,
but
I
that was great.
didn't.
Um, and before we go, we cannot forget our Lift Her Up segment.
Yes.
Jen's got this one today, and I love it
Yes.
because it goes right along with everything we've talked about.
Her name is Tina Lawton, and she is a small business owner in Agoura Hills. And excuse me, and she offers custom home organization, senior downsizing, packing, unpacking, delivery service. She also organizes you, labels. She's a big labeler. She moved me, and I didn't have to do anything. I did not have to do anything.
Did you mention seniors moving?
Yes.
Did you just say it? I didn't
Yes.
hear you
Yeah.
say it.
Senior.
I think that is so important
It is
because it is so hard for families to emotionally clear and separate
100%.
when they're trying to move a loved one. And I'm thinking about moving a loved one into care,
Right. Right.
because you know that they have a limited amount of space. How do you choose? So having a neutral party.
Is so important.
Yeah,
Um, I live this. I think it's so important to have a third party because you're not alone and it could be very, very emotional.
yeah,
And
but that person's not attached to the stuff either.
right. That's true.
It's easier for them to be
That's
logical.
true.
Yeah.
And she's a one-stop shop. She anything that has to do with moving, even estate sales, she
Mhm.
does. Whatever you need in your home. Her website is www.allclutterbegone.com.
Love that.
We'll link it in
The
the
notes.
notes.
Yeah.
And thank you, Tina.
Yes, Tina.
And
We may have a follow-up to this episode someday and have her on. If we can
exactly.
figure that out. If we can figure out remote.
I know. That's our next journey.
But this has been probably the longest episode. We're going to
Probably.
try and cut it up a little bit, but
Yeah,
it was so good.
it was. There was a lot of information and a lot of stuff I didn't know until
Yeah,
this
you
was,
really fired up when you walked in today.
I
You were like,
was,
I learned so much and
I
I love
did.
that. And I'm enthused because I mean, even though I do this on a regular basis, I'm like my spark has been reignited. I can't wait to go clean something.
Right. Because um what I think is one of the most important things for me is I have a hard time throwing things away.
Yeah.
And I try to make the piles, but if it's very sentimental, I
Yeah.
have a hard time. Um, but it's attached
Yeah.
to old energy. So I've learned a huge
Yeah.
tip. Huge
You know
tip.
what we didn't talk about?
But
Cars. Cleaning your car
oh,
out.
that is cleaning your car.
Out, guys. Clean your
Oh
car
my
out.
God.
Unless you're homeless, don't live like you don't own a trash can.
It's so
There's nothing worse than getting into someone's
oh,
car, and I'm not naming names, but
I
getting
think
into
you are.
cars and climbing
Yeah,
over
it's awful.
3 weeks of fast food.
It's awful. And it just shows what kind of place when I'm not like, you know, having a bad day, you'll see my car more messy. That yes.
That's it. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Clean your car and brighten your spirits a little
And
bit.
get a little garbage can. I got one
Yeah.
for the front
Yeah.
seat.
Do it like you do your living room. Take all your garbage out every time you get out of your
Mm-hmm.
car, and then there's no buildup.
Exactly.
It's how you treat one thing is how you treat everything.
That's right.
Okay. We're gonna go because we could keep going, but
Right. And it's
this
like,
has been great. I'm Beth.
I'm Jennifer.
This has been Two in the Closet. Now go clean up.
Exactly. Get that clutter away.
Yes. Until next time.